right. I wanted to talk a little bit more about this leak, which is really, again, the leak aspect is probably the most horrific part of the whole thing. Very little is going to change if and when Roe versus Wade is reversed. It's not like abortions are all just going to suddenly be banned all over the country. But there's much more to talk about here, and that is, I think the more important aspect, constitutionally speaking, is the end of this idea of legislating from the bench. Let legislators be legislators and let judges be judges. That's the way it's supposed to be. Judges are not supposed to legislate. Yes, there is such a thing as judicial review to see if a law is constitutional or not. But that's different than just making up laws, things that are not mentioned in the Constitution, things that are not discussed in the Constitution. If you want things to be in the Constitution, there's an amendment process. And if, as the left claims that, the overwhelming majority of Americans want Roe versus Wade to be the law, so then it should be quite easy to amend the Constitution. It isn't, because they don't. However, the fact of the matter is, with all of this, the change won't really be that drastic, if anything changes at all. Most likely, what I'm imagining is probably less than 5% of abortions will be that are currently legal and unregulated will be regulated in any manner, let alone banned, and very, very little will actually change. First of all, a lot of things have changed in the world and the culture, that abortion has become much more rare than it was. So there's a lot of things to talk about as to what, very minuscule changes might happen, but the bigger issue is, don't be legislating from the bench. Let's let legislators do their jobs, and let's let judges do their jobs. That's how it's supposed to be. And also, let states do their jobs and the federal government do their jobs. I think, when we're talking about legalization of marijuana, many states have decriminalized marijuana. It remains nonetheless federally illegal. Why hasn't the Congress done something about that, especially considering how libertarian-leaning many Republicans are? This should be something that should have wide bipartisan support. But until then, there should not be any nullification of federal law by the states. Of course, the states can decriminalize, but it's still illegal. The states won't prosecute it. That doesn't mean that it's not still illegal. So, to be used recreationally. I know President Trump did a lot to legalize CBD and a lot of other things along those lines on the federal level, and leave it up to the states to decide whether or not they want marijuana to be legal or not, and the byproducts of it. So these are things to be aware of. This is really the way things are supposed to be working. It's supposed to be that the states should decide these things, or if it is a federal issue, that the Congress should be deciding these things. Although I don't see how it would be that the Congress would make a federal law enshrining Roe versus Wade. It would be a very difficult type of a law to make, meaning they're going to legislate that states are not allowed to legislate on this matter. It's a kind of a strange thing, So, to this day, even after Prohibition has ended, there are still counties that are dry that have Prohibition. So how do you do that exactly on the federal level, constitutionally and legally? It's not so simple. So There's a lot to talk about, but all of the gnashing of the teeth and all of the overreacting that we're seeing from the left right now, that they're imagining that, abortion is going to disappear at the snap of a finger if Roe versus Wade is overturned. Abortion was legal in a few states before Roe versus Wade. The whole issue that brought up Roe versus Wade was that Texas was seeking to limit abortion only to when the life of the mother was in danger. So nobody, all these people talking about Jewish law, that the Jewish law is that if a mother's life is in danger, the way it's generally understood is most people see it as some kind of obligation, although it's not really stated as an obligation, that we save the mother's life, that the mother's life takes precedent over the unborn child's life. That's not to say abortion on demand is okay. So it's, with all that being said, no state is seeking to ban abortion when the mother's life is in danger. So this whole hullabaloo about Jewish law is really a moot point. As far as I know, okay, and there, like we said, there are those who would permit abortion in the case of incest and even adultery and other cases within Jewish law for various reasons. Nonetheless, there are not that many states that are even seeking anything along those lines to ban, and it'll be a real big uphill battle to change a lot of these things. It's not going to be so simple that all of a sudden all these states are going. First of all, the Supreme Court is doing nothing to ban abortion. It's only giving it back to the states, and within the states it's going to be very little traction. It's going to be a difficult thing to ban anything, and that's how it's supposed to be. The government is not supposed to be an easy business, and and things are supposed to be done not with the snap of a finger by a fiat of the judiciary. That's not the way things are supposed to work. And it looks like this court is trying to bring us back to that. But the frightening thing again is, are Democrats going to try to pack the courts? Are they going to try to end the filibuster? Are they going to try to add more states so they have more senators on their side, as they imagine? Things like that. I don't know. And that's the most frightening part of all of this. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. We'll see you later.